Peter, can I start with you on all of this? What did you make of it? It's been quite interesting, I think, looking at this seven-way debate in the light of what we've seen over the last week and in the light of the new opinion poll last night.
The opinion poll last night was on one level hugely significant, of course, and Nigel Farage had a lovely time making this point about how he's the official opposition and so on. But behind all that is the brute reality of the British voting system. Support for the Reform Party is a little bit like the River Thames in the Middle Ages. That is to say, it is wide, but it is shallow. And our voting system says you either come first in each constituency vote or you go nowhere. And so the prospect that Nigel seemed to be sort of unfolding of the House of Commons being swamped with Reform MPs is total la-la land. That said, there's a pretty good chance, I would suggest, that he will actually get in Clacton. And when he is as an MP, he can do what he likes. And I think he will have huge heft within the Conservative Party assuming they do lose and lose badly, and it'll be recriminations on all sides and a redefinition of the party. And at that point, Nigel Farage will have huge heft in how they shape their new agenda.
Nigel Nelson, what do you make of it?
Well, I agree with Peter that the first past the post electoral system means that Nigel Farage doesn't get a big clutch of MPs on these kind of figures. So what this would, if this poll was translated into seats, Reform would come back with 5 MPs. The Tories are pretty dire. They'd end up with just over 70, only a little ahead of the Lib Dems. So it's kind of a toss-up with whether the Lib Dems or the Tories would be the official opposition. I think we need to be a little bit cautious at this stage to make sure this poll isn't an outlier. If it turns out that other polls confirm this finding and keep Reform ahead, especially if they get even further ahead, then this is a really significant moment during the election.
But it should, to both of you, but Peter first, this has got to drive the other parties to an extent, hasn't it? It shows, particularly the Tories, it shows a huge amount of discontent in how the big parties are currently handling things, Peter, doesn't it? Mm.
Oh, absolutely. The level of disillusion with politicians in general is massive, and there are predictions that the turnout in the election will be massively down on normal times, because there is that sense of collective apathy and the country's gone to the dogs and so on. But at the same time, after the election, there will be this reckoning within the Conservative Party, and Nigel Farage's his central beef about immigration will play very big within Conservative deliberations about how they should frame themselves for future elections. And of course, there is the question, Nigel Farage likes to hope that he can somehow absorb the Conservative Party under his wing. The alternative would be, of course, that he actually switches party after the election and becomes leader of the Conservative Party. There's an awful lot of people on the hard right of the Conservative Party who wouldn't mind that one little bit.
Nigel Nelson, is that something that you predict could happen? So not this election, but the one after, we could see a pact between Reform and the Tories, which could be led by Nigel Farage?
Yes, you could. Anything is possible in politics. I think that it rather depends on the makeup of the Conservative Party after the election. So if you end up returning an awful lot of the moderate One Nation Tories, there's no way they're going to do any deals with Nigel Farage. However, if the right wing comes back and you get a right wing leader, say Suella Braverman, who says she would welcome Nigel Farage into the Tory party, then that could change. What is most likely to happen, even if the Tories do come back with very few MPs, is most of them would probably be moderates. The area where the Tories are most at risk are in the red wall seats, where you do have a lot of MPs from the right.